Good morning, everybody. It's Marty the JavaScript Party, my buddy Rhett, and we are chilling, doing some coding. It's 10:38 Sunday morning. It's hot as heck outside. We just took the dogs walking, and it is super hot out there. Um, and everything's going great. It's nice in here. I made one of these nuts, cracked a nut. Let's see, for Rhett. I don't know what kind of nut this is called. I probably could figure it out pretty easily. I have known it in the past. She's not fond of these, but we have a bunch of these. Um, I have kind of gotten to where sort of paying attention to how like different techniques for cracking nuts, and we have like this nut cracker thing, and it's got these little teeth at the top, and so like for some nuts you can just pop it and it's in the middle, it pops right open. These are very very hard. She can't even come close to cracking them. But I noticed that if you put the little teeth at the if you put the triangle in and you have the long part of the triangle, so it's kind of like an isosceles triangle, and the more narrow part, if the teeth are on that and you push it together, the little teeth drive right in there and it pops right open. So that is a nice learning thing that I did today. But I'm gonna give this to Rhett. She's very excited about it. There you go. Anyways, so we are on this Angular voice, and this is going to be video 119. We're so close to being done. Um, I think we will be feature complete within a video too. Maybe even this video, we might be feature complete. Basically, what we're trying to do is trying to get it when we set this recognition. There's like a way to um, set something called, I can't remember what they're called at the moment, speech grammars. And basically just the one sort of extra thing that I'm doing here, which is kind of like, I like the idea like these these things. Well, I guess that's not even true. Um, so basically, you paste speech grammars, you're going to get exactly whatever goes in here is going to get tied in, except for one case, and that's the case where you have a the case where you have a multiple speech grammars. Then I'm going to do some extra processing to split it, because when you have multiple speech grammars, they need to be added. They need to be applied to this recognition object, um, individually. So that is how that works. Now, if you don't know how any of this, like if this is your first video watching, um, basically these two tabs are the two types of speech recognition. There's a discrete version and a continuous version. And the difference is the discrete listens to one set of words and then it responds. And then it stores that and gives you a result, and turns itself off. The continuous will stay on until you actively turn it off. So, for example, like if I go like this, hello. See, I don't have to do anything. It's done. It already finished, and it was like gave me some responses and all that. But on continuous, hello, how are you? What is your name? See, now that's weird. I don't know what the heck happened there. It put a question mark in front of what is it. That is very strange. And that is another thing is from day to day, you're going to get different results, and you'll get different results on different browsers. And it doesn't work in some browsers. And it doesn't work for the reason, not for the reasons you think it doesn't work. The reason it doesn't work is because the browsers are coupled to cloud services. So the Edge browser is coupled to the Microsoft cloud, and the the Chrome browser is tied to the Google cloud, and then that's where things are done. And basically, like I think that if you typically if you want to use those services, you have to get an account with those services, and then and pay for the actual usage of those services. I don't really know what the details of that are, but and I don't know even the vaguest idea on what that costs and all that. I don't think it's very much, but I honestly have no idea. Um, but but since it's connecting to different clouds, you'll get different results. So if we did the exact same thing in Edge right now, and this is something I learned as a result of, um, let's see, uh, oh, Aaron Rodgers reveals training camp how to I taught. So that's fun. Anyways, I'm a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan, so that's why I get a lot of Pittsburgh Steelers content. But like we're gonna do the same thing that we did over here. I'm just gonna say hello. How are you? And what is your name? Hello. How are you? What is your name? And as you see, um, we get punctuation. This time we have an. We really probably shouldn't have a period. It probably should just be hello without a period. But maybe how are you? Question mark. And what is your name? So we get something weird here. And I have noticed that the Chrome version, the Google Cloud seems to be a lot less reliable than the Microsoft Cloud. And this is just a really easy way to test that kind of stuff. That would have been a very, very difficult thing to explain in just words, but with this tool, it's pretty easy to test it. And if someone's saying, "Wait, why did I get weird results?" and it'll be like, "Well, you used Chrome." Now, I think I have DuckDuckGo. Yeah, I have DuckDuckGo on here. And so the last time I tried DuckDuckGo, what happened was it just didn't respond at all. So let's just grab this, put this URL into here. I guess that's a kind of one of the features of DuckDuckGo is it doesn't like store your history, things like that. So it was a little bit less. But if I try this, hello, oh, allow, hello, how are you? See, nothing, doesn't work. Um, Hello, how are you? So yeah, we just don't get any kind of response. I think, see, the microphone is on, so it is actually listening. It just isn't. Well, that says microphone. I believe it's on. Let's see. Yeah. So yeah, it just doesn't work in DuckDuckGo, and I think it's because DuckDuckGo isn't tied to any of the cloud services. Um, and that is something I just didn't even understand when I started this whole thing. Is that these are tied to cloud services. Um, Now it's a bit disappointing because that means that if they turn that service off or if they change the API, it's just broken. It's outside the control of the browser. So, it went because at first I was like, oh, I'm gonna put this in sort of a what's called an Electron application so that I can lock down the browser and it'll work even like 5 years from now. But that's just not true because it's outside of the browser. How this API works is outside of the browser. So, anyways, I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's just the reality. So, anyways, I did get this grammar's filling out, and we did a pretty good job in the architecting of this, so that there's just a place, an easy. We don't have to put a whole lot of thought into where to put this stuff. Hi there. And the way this architecture works is like you set variables, um, settings, speech service variables, and then when you push the button, it cobbles together the recognition object and gives it all the properties, and then it and then it then it turns on the recognition. It starts the recognition. Um, so that's a nice architecture. It makes it easy to maintain. Um, and I guess for some reason I did. Oh, let's see. I have this, and then I have a signal. And I don't really remember why I made this a signal. I guess it's for the initialization. So since we are already, I think since this is not going to ever be defaulted to anything, we don't need a signal. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I do know we will need a service attribute, so we'll do that. And this is called speech grammars. And it is a string. And basically, I believe inside of the settings dialog component, you know, I was thinking though, I've been talking about like how much faster this has gone than my 3JS one. And I know I spent weeks and weeks, like at least a dozen sessions where literally all I did was play around with the tool. I didn't even write any code for the tool. So that's something to think about. So I have, what I did here is in the settings, I call a speech something in the speech service that sets the value. And so, and both of them I said update discrete language, update max alternatives. So I think it makes sense to say, well, first let's just make sure console.log, and let's just make sure that we are getting our new what are these things called again? Grammars, that we're getting them when we make changes. I believe it happens on every keystroke, which is fine because it's not, all it's doing is saving stuff to memory. It's not actually doing anything with the speech service. If it was actually interacting with the speech service, we'd have to consider like debouncing it or throttling it or something just kind of slow down, because people can type really, really fast and we don't want it like redoing stuff, but it's not. All it's doing is saving to memory. So I'm going to turn my console on, look at my console so I can see it. And this, we spent a couple of episodes of trying to figure this thing out. And I think the solution I finally, the conclusion I finally came to is that when you click this button, the focus goes onto this. This is a timing issue. The focus goes onto this. Then it puts up something that you can't go into, like a way. It makes it to where you can't get to this anymore because it puts up another div all the way across, and then that's telling you, hey, this is on something that can't be accessed, which is really hard for screen readers. And then it comes into here and sets the focus to here. As you notice, this is underlined. We didn't do anything to put it there. So so we have our grammars. And so basically, I need some grammars. I think it would be nice to have like a little helper icon that I could click and it has a grammar for me that I could tweak or whatever. But anyways, this is a JSGF format for, I'm just going to ask ChatGPT for J. You provide me a JSFG. No, it's GF format, string that 4 colors. Let's see. So this is nice. But it didn't. I think these. That's weird. Okay, so put it in a string that I can provide to a web API recognition object. because it put it on like multiple lines. Yeah, this guy. There we go. This is what we want. I don't want the quotes like this. So something like that is what we want. And so, yeah, and we got our grammar. So we want to take that, and it would be nice to have sort of access to this. So like it'd be nice to have like a little pop-up that does that. And I guess while it's very tempting to sort of go there, it's probably better to um, uh, it's probably going to be a lot faster to take care of the pop-up right now. Um, so okay, so this is the code. So I have this code, this Angular material code, and I would like to add a clickable. Now this is kind of hard because actually I guess this is weird because I was thinking, oh, I want a little clickable pop-up, but we're already in a pop-up. So maybe I just want like a little space under here that has a description area where I can put the JSGF string that the user can copy. Oh, copy button. Yeah, that would be really nice. But I don't know. Oh, wow, there's a clipboard module. I did not know that. Anyways, I don't really want to do all that. Well, I can have a small description area under the control instead. Helper text. Yeah, helper text. Matt Hint. Gosh, that is so cool. So right under the text area, apparently I want this. Let's see how that works. We might want to make this whole thing a little wider. So right here, I'm going to add my Matt Hint. And now I want to copy this. I want to do this. I bet you, okay, so it does not like this because it thinks this is some sort of markup. So I can't remember, I think that's, okay, so this text issue because the greater than and LT signs are signs. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking, but I wasn't 100% sure on that. So basically, this looks like hypertext. I mean markup to the browser, so we can't really use that. But And this is generally just the sort of literally been around since the 1990s solution for this problem. Okay, so see, can I just go like this? It is weird that I get that extra space there, but is that right? What is that? Let's go back to the original. So star. Okay, so we don't have this stuff. It left that out for us. I don't know why it's such a weirdo with that kind of stuff. Now we could add a little copy thing. It'd probably be kind of fun to do the use that little clipboard thing that it was offering. But so there we go. Now we can just grab this and go. And I think that is the whole thing. Okay, so I guess it's this space maybe that's screwing things up. I love you too. Let's see. Yeah, I like that. Copy, Control V. So you have that if you need it. Hopefully that works. I don't know. And now if we go in here, inspect, and we go to the console, we see we have our result, and we have our grammars, and that is nice. And now result. So I think I can just say result.grammars, right? And I feel like I don't know why I like to do this. I've noticed that I'm a bit unusual in that I like to like sort of piece by piece go to it, and I don't know that I get like that it gives me a benefit. It just something about the wins. Like I keep winning. I like to win, and those are easy wins. You're checking it just does what you want, and you feel good about that. All right, so now we have that, and then we can say, oh, we will need that to be a signal, because when we come back, right now, I think if we close it and we open it again, we've lost our speech grammars. That's what that's all about. So anyway, so that is going to be a little bit more. So we're going to want like this dot speech service dot update grammars and result dot grammars. We do not have an update grammars right now, but I can guarantee I want that thing to be right next to my update max alternatives. I'm pretty sure. So let's just go there. Definition. Boom. Update grammars. Grammars, which is going to be a string, and we aren't returning anything, which if I was in my other project, I would be returning something so that I would be able to set up unit tests easy. Start grammars, speech grammars is equal to grammars, and then this dot speech grammars signal dot set grammars, and we don't have a signal, but I know that I'm going to want this right next to my other one. So it looks like what I did was, yeah, I put them all together, and I guess I can use this over here, this guy over here, to help me, to guide me, please help. misspelling speech. I want to put an A in there so bad. Signal dot speech grammars. Now, I think I can just go in and just literally copy um, code that I have in here in the effect to update things. And that is just why things are so much faster. Can become so much faster if you're like really careful with your architecture. Um, but I don't like. I think in like in agile and stuff, they try to sort of like imply that you're going to get like a steady increase in velocity. And it isn't like that. You get like fits and starts and then you kind of go back down. And a lot of times when you go back down, you go way lower than even the original. You just slow way down as you start to rebuild foundations and all that. And then you get a little creative boop explosion and then back down. That it doesn't go down in a it doesn't go up in a straight line. It goes like and and that's the problem with like you just have and you just I hate to it's I'm being like necessarily cruel when I say this, but the literally like when I think when I first started coding, like one out of like 3 or 4 developers and people in technology were just absolute fakers. Like they were faking, they brought absolutely no value. They're just faking. And then I think we've gotten to the point where we're literally at like only one in maybe 100 or maybe somewhere between 100 and 1,000 people in IT aren't faking. And where everybody is faking, it's so hard. Like it's just like even people are faking don't even realize they're faking. The vast majority of these fakers have no idea they're faking. They're like, oh, we're building this, and my job is to go push this button, and I push this button every day, and I'm really diligent about pushing this button every day, and that's why we have software. And it's just like, yeah, no, you're not doing anything. You're literally just wasting your time and energy. And actually, and as long as you're not like slowing the process down, but a lot of them actually do slow the process down. I remember when I worked at this big Fortune 50 company, and they were like, literally every morning, or at least once a week at 8 a.m. on the dot, you would get some phone call, and they'd be like, "Hi, I am so and so from," and they would from some other state, 100,000 miles away, saying, "We have started a new group, the XYZ security inflammation blah 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 group, and we need you to fill we see that you are listed as a person in charge of this software, and we need you to fill out some paperwork to," and it was just like, oh my gosh, like that would, and then you would end up building out writing out all these reports so that you could prove that it wasn't relevant to you because you're not a public facing site or something like that. It was just like all these people thought they were being productive, but they were actually just massive drains on the system. Um, and that is how it works, and it's a real shame. Um, I mean, it's just heartbreaking, especially a lot of times. They'll figure out later that it wasn't. So it was grammars, right? Speech grammars, signal, and then I don't think we have to two-string this because it's already a string. And then this is speech grammars. I know, I think it's just called grammars over here. And then, so we already had like sort of exactly how to do this for the other ones. So it's super simple. So we probably did literally in 15 minutes or 30 minutes what we would have done, what took like 5 sessions last time. We just did it all at once because um, the whole architecture is already in place. It's just a lot easier just to tweak it than it is to build it initially, unless the architecture missed something. Like if it was just a big miss, then it can be really tough. But okay, so now we go in here, we come down here, we copy this, we paste that there, and then I think we're already good. Let's see, go to our inspect. Yeah, so console, I think we've already done that. And so now we go close this. And I believe we are, let's just, oh, and then if we open it up again, oh, it didn't work. Somehow we had ENUS. So obviously I put the wrong, I put the discrete language in there. And we'll try this again. Boom. And coming up with this testing scheme is so much easier now than it would be like in a week. So, it's probably a lot better to just sort of take care of this kind of thing. Oh, and now what we want to do is come back over here. Yep, and it's still there. So then we could be like a red, right, and change that and see what happens. So I think that is good for today. I think Monday, I know I said this is what I'm going to do. Yesterday I said this is what I'm going to do, but then I realized I needed to add some kind of easy way because like this is not something you're just going to remember. So that is that. And then on next Saturday, the idea will be to come in here and when we do the start on, where is it? Control F, start. I think it's dot start. I think we run the dot start function. Yes. Right here, we'll say, and I don't think, you don't just say like this dot recognition. I think they did. Grammar speech recognition list. See, we have to do this kind of thing. And since we do it from kind of two places, we probably just need, and fortunately they're identical. We can get a function that returns this grammar thing. Well, it looks like, no, add from string one. So at first, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth, I think it's worth adding multiple grammars, but maybe not. You know what? I don't think it's worth it. If I ever care about that in the future, I'll crack this open and add another, and modify, because it should not be too hard to come up to speed to say, okay, my grammar has two things in it. Or maybe I'll choose to say, you know what, I need to make this an array instead of a string, and have like a little button that you say add new grammar, and they just keep growing as you go. But that is that. I hope everyone has a wonderful Sunday. Happy coding. Bye.